Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be diving deep into, well, this is exciting, personal success and achievement. I know. Everyone's always chasing that, right?
It's a timeless topic.
It really is. And we've got some fascinating material to work with today. We've got excerpts from a self-help program from, get this, the 1930s.
Wow, that's going back a bit.
Right. I was a little skeptical at first. I mean, 1930s, come on. But honestly, some of this stuff it's surprisingly relevant even today.
Yeah, I mean, human nature doesn't really change all that much, does it?
Exactly. So right off the bat, this program really stresses the importance of, well, they call it an annual self-analysis. They even give you a list of 28 questions.
28, that's pretty comprehensive.
Right. And the idea is to use these questions to really take stock of, where you're at, what you're good at, what you could improve on. They even suggest, like, finding a friend, that one friend who will actually be brutally honest with you.
Oh, the friend who's not afraid to tell you you've got spinach in your teeth.
Exactly. And I think that's key, right? Because sometimes we need that outside perspective.
Absolutely, we can be blind to our own flaws sometimes.
Totally. Okay, so along with this self-analysis, the program's also big on setting a like a definite yearly objective, almost like a milestone on the road to your bigger goals.
So conscious goal setting,
Yeah,
basically.
laying the groundwork.
Making it real.
Right. And then there's this whole section about a simple breakfast. Seems kind of random, but it's actually really clever.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So picture this, right? You're having breakfast. Maybe you've got some grapefruit from Florida, tea from China, eggs from Utah, all ending up on your table in New York City.
Okay, I'm following.
And the program breaks down the cost of each item. But it's not about budgeting, really. It's about highlighting all the people, the resources, all that invisible effort that goes into, well, basically everything we consume.
So it's trying to show the interconnectedness of everything. Like, even a simple breakfast has this huge web of human effort behind it.
Exactly. And they use this to illustrate the concept of useful service, the idea that real wealth comes from providing something of value to others. No matter what the economic system is, that's the foundation.
Hmm. That's pretty profound for a 1930s self-help program.
Right. There's some real gems in here. Okay, ready for this. The program gets pretty intense about the power of decision, like capital D, decision. They basically say procrastination is the #1 killer of dreams.
Oof. I think we've all been guilty of that at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But then they contrast that with, someone like Henry Ford, known for making those quick, bold decisions. The program really suggests that that bias towards action can be like a superpower for success.
It's like you hesitate, you lose. The world rewards those who move, who take action.
And on that note, they go all in on persistence. I mean, seriously, all in. They've got stories of people who faced like mountains of rejection and they wouldn't give up. Like Fannie Hurst, this writer, 36 rejection, slips from one magazine, just one.
36. That's
Yeah.
that's dedication right there.
Right. But what's really cool is they don't just say, oh, be persistent. They dive into the HOW.
The nitty-gritty.
Yeah, exactly. They talk about the importance of having a clear sense of purpose, building that self-reliance, and this is key, having the right support system around you. Even facing those inner doubts that we all have, those little voices that try to sabotage us, they give tips on how to deal with all that.
Wow. It sounds like they really try to give you a complete toolkit.
Totally. It's not just about wishing for success, it's about like actively willing it into being. And then there's this whole thing about the mastermind.
The mastermind, that sounds intriguing. What is that?
So it's this idea that connecting with like-minded people, people who are on the same wavelength as you, and doing it in the spirit of harmony, it can like supercharge your chances of success.
So like a brain trust,
Hmm.
where everyone benefits from the collective wisdom.
Yeah. And they've got these amazing historical examples. Like they talk about how Andrew Carnegie built his steel empire, and it was with the help of this 50-person mastermind group.
50 people. That's a pretty impressive network.
Right. And then they talk about Henry Ford, how he was surrounded by like Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, all these brilliant minds. Imagine those brainstorming sessions. But I'm curious, how do you think this mastermind concept actually works in practice?
Well, I'd imagine a big part of it is accountability. Having people who are invested in your success, who can help you stay on track. And then there's the diversity of perspectives. Different viewpoints can really spark new ideas and solutions. And of course, there's the power of shared motivation. Being surrounded by people who are also striving for greatness can be incredibly inspiring.
It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad, but they're also holding you accountable. Okay, brace yourself for this one because it's a bit of a wild card. They call it the mystery of sex transmutation.
Sex transmutation. Now, that's a phrase you don't hear every day.
Right. But before you jump to any conclusions, the way they define it in the program is, well, it's not what you might think. It's not about, suppressing natural urges. It's more about like channeling that intense energy, that passion towards something creative, something that helps you achieve your ambitions.
So it's like taking that fire and redirecting it towards a purpose.
Exactly. And they argue that a lot of high achievers throughout history, well, they had strong desires, strong drives, and learning to harness that energy, that was part of their secret sauce. They even use examples like Napoleon Bonaparte, known for his ambition and drive to illustrate this point. So it's about recognizing the power of that energy and using it to fuel your journey.
That's a pretty unique perspective.
Right. And it's making me think, does this idea of channeling that energy, that passion, does it resonate with you at all?
It's definitely something to ponder.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, instead of trying to fight against these natural forces within us, maybe we can learn to work with them, to transform them into something that propels us forward.
Yeah. Like harnessing a powerful force within yourself and directing it towards something bigger, something that really matters to you.
It's a fascinating concept for sure. But, this program, it doesn't stop there. There's another layer to it that I find really interesting. It delves into these 6 basic fears.
6 basic fears.
Yeah, the program claims that these fears are what hold us back from reaching our full potential.
Okay, like what? Spill the beans.
All right, so fear of poverty, that's a big one. Fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of losing love, fear of old age, and, well, fear of death.
Wow, that's quite a list.
Right, and the program suggests that these fears they're like these invisible barriers that keep us from really stepping into our power, from pursuing our dreams with full conviction.
So they're not just like surface level fears. They're more like these deep-seated anxieties that kind of run the show behind the scenes.
Exactly. They're rooted in our subconscious, influencing our decisions, our actions, even when we don't realize it. And get this, they actually single out the fear of criticism as the most paralyzing of them all.
Fear of criticism, huh? I guess that makes sense. I mean, how many times have you held yourself back from doing something you really wanted to do because you were afraid of what people might think, what they might say?
Right. It's a trap that so many of us fall into.
Mhm.
And this program, it really highlights how this fear of judgment, it can lead to all these missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, and a life lived in the shadows of other people's expectations.
It's like we're giving away our power to these imagined critics, letting their perceived judgments shape our reality.
It's a form of self-sabotage, really.
Yeah.
But the good news is the program doesn't just leave us dwelling in this pit of fear. They offer an antidote,
Right.
faith. Yeah. And it's not necessarily religious faith. It's more about a deep-seated belief in yourself, in your abilities, and in these principles that we're talking about here.
Okay, so it's like believing in your own potential, even when you're facing challenges, when you're hit with setbacks.
Exactly. It's about cultivating this unshakable trust in yourself.
It reminds me of that Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's all about the power of belief. But how do we actually cultivate this kind of unwavering faith? I mean, especially when we're constantly bombarded with negativity and self-doubt.
Well, the program offers a few practical suggestions. It stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with supportive people. That mastermind group we talked about earlier, that can be a huge asset in this area. It also encourages the use of affirmations, consciously choosing positive, empowering thoughts and repeating them until they become ingrained in your subconscious.
So like reprogramming your mind for success by feeding it these positive messages.
Yeah. But it's not just about positive thinking, right? It's about aligning those thoughts with concrete actions.
Right. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. Faith without action is meaningless. It's about combining that inner belief with persistent effort, focused action, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes along the way.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting for me. The program goes deep on the power of the subconscious mind. It's suggesting that our subconscious is incredibly receptive to the thoughts and beliefs that we consistently feed it. And ultimately, that's what shapes our actions and influences the reality that we experience.
It's like our subconscious is this powerful operating system running in the background, shaping our behaviors, our perceptions, even the opportunities that we attract into our lives. And the program highlights the practice of autosuggestion
Yeah.
as a way to influence our subconscious beliefs and habits.
Autosuggestion. What's that?
So it's basically using repeated affirmations and visualizations to kind of reprogram our subconscious mind.
So it's like we can actually rewire our brains for success by consistently focusing our thoughts and intentions on what we want to achieve.
Exactly. But the program doesn't just tell us to think positive thoughts. It actually lays out a very specific 6-step process for using autosuggestion effectively.
6 steps. Lay it on me.
Okay, so step 1 is to fix in your mind a clear picture of what you desire. What do you really want? Visualize it in detail. Step 2 is to determine what you're willing to give in return for what you desire. Success often requires effort, sacrifice. Step 3 is to establish a definite date for achieving your objective. When do you want to have this? Step 4 is to create a definite plan, and this is key. Begin at once to put it into action. Step 5 is to write it all down. A clear, concise statement of what you want, when you want it, what you're willing to give, and your plan for getting there. And finally, step 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once in the morning, once at night. And as you read, visualize, feel yourself already in a possession of what you desire.
Wow, that's quite a process.
Right. But the idea is that by consistently following these steps, you can literally program your subconscious to work towards your goals, even while your conscious mind is busy with other things.
It's like planting seeds in your mind and then nurturing them with attention, with positive energy, with belief. But the program also stresses that just going through the motions isn't enough. It's about really feeling the desire, believing in the possibility of achieving your goal. It's about imbuing those affirmations with emotion.
Yeah. It's about engaging not just your mind, but also your heart, your gut.
Okay, now this next part, it gets a little mystical. The program introduces this concept of the sixth sense. They describe it as a kind of intuition, a gut feeling that can guide us towards success.
Like our connection to a higher intelligence, a source of wisdom that goes beyond our rational, logical thinking.
Okay, so how do we actually develop this sixth sense? Is it something we're born with, or can it be cultivated?
Well, the program suggests that we can cultivate it by paying attention to our hunches, by practicing mindfulness and meditation to quiet the mental chatter, and learning to trust those intuitive whispers that often guide us towards the right path.
So it's about developing this deeper level of self-trust, recognizing that sometimes the best guidance comes from within. This program really challenges us to think about success in a holistic way, not just our actions and strategies, but also our thoughts, our beliefs, even our intuition.
It's about recognizing that success is not just about external achievements, but also about cultivating inner wisdom, resilience, and a deep connection to our own inner guidance system.
I love that. But with all this talk about intuition and sixth sense, it seems like there's another crucial element of success that this program highlights, and that's organized planning. They really stress that even the strongest desires and the most persistent efforts can be wasted without a clear plan for achieving your goals.
It's like setting out on a journey without a map, without a compass. You might have a general idea of where you want to go, but without a clear plan for getting there, you're likely to get lost along the way.
Like you need that roadmap, that structure to actually make those dreams a reality.
Absolutely. And this program, it really emphasizes breaking down those big, ambitious goals into smaller, more manageable steps. Creating a timeline, tracking your progress. They even give you a 6-step process for organized planning.
6 steps. Again, okay, I'm sensing a pattern here.
Right, it's like their magic formula.
Yeah.
So the first step is to define exactly what you want. Seems obvious, but they really stress getting crystal clear about that desired outcome.
No fuzzy goals allowed.
Exactly. Step 2, determine what you're willing to give in return for what you desire. Again, that idea of exchange, of no free lunches.
You got to put in the work.
Yep. Step 3, set a definite date for achieving your objective. Time-bound goals.
No more someday, I'll do it.
Exactly. Step 4, create a definite plan and put it into action immediately. No delay, no hesitation.
Action.
Lights, camera, action. Step 5, write it all down. A clear, concise statement of what you want, when you want it, what you'll give, and your plan.
Putting it in writing makes it real.
Makes it a commitment.
Yeah.
And finally, step 6, read your written statement aloud twice a day, morning and night, visualizing and feeling yourself already in possession of your desired outcome.
Okay, so that sounds familiar. It's like the auto-suggestion process, but applied to planning.
Right. It's about aligning your subconscious mind with your conscious goals. The program really believes in the power of repetition and visualization.
It's like training your brain for success.
Right.
But they also emphasize that plans should be, well, flexible, right? You can't be too rigid.
Exactly. They say you got to find that balance between having a clear roadmap and being open to adjusting course as needed.
Like that saying, no battle plan survives contact with the enemy.
Right. You got to be able to adapt, to roll with the punches.
But always keep your eye on the prize.
Always. And speaking of rolling with the punches, this program, it really, really stresses the importance of developing a resilient mindset. You know, being able to bounce back from setbacks, from obstacles. Because let's face it, those are inevitable.
Life throws curveballs.
All the time. But it's how we respond to those challenges that determines our success. It ties back to that idea of persistence that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, not giving up. And I think that leads into one of the most prominent themes I've noticed throughout this entire program, and that's the importance of maintaining a positive mental attitude.
It's all about mindset. They really drive home the idea that we have so much more control over our reality than we often realize.
Our thoughts create our reality.
They really do. And it all starts with cultivating a positive outlook, an optimistic outlook, even when things get tough.
Easier said than done sometimes, right? But do you really think just thinking positive thoughts can actually lead to real, tangible results?
Well, the program argues that it's not just about wishful thinking. It's about making a conscious choice to focus on thoughts and beliefs that empower us, that help us take action, make smart decisions, and persevere when things get challenging.
So it's about training your mind to see possibilities where others might see only limitations.
Exactly. It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about approaching those challenges with a solution-oriented mindset, a belief that you can overcome them.
Okay, so it's about shifting your perspective. And I think that ties in with the whole idea of taking responsibility for your own life, right? Not playing the victim role.
Absolutely. This program is big on personal responsibility. And they even suggest that maintaining a positive outlook can actually have physical benefits.
Wait, so thinking positive thoughts can actually make you healthier?
They seem to think so. They talk about the mind-body connection, how our thoughts and emotions can impact our physical well-being. They even encourage us to be mindful of the things we expose ourselves to, the books we read, the music we listen to, the people we spend time with.
It's about creating an environment that supports your growth, your well-being, both mentally and physically.
Exactly. You are what you consume, as they say.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into these fascinating principles from almost a century ago, I think it's clear that they offer some timeless wisdom.
Human nature and the fundamentals of success, they don't really change all that much, do they?
I guess not. From the importance of self-awareness and understanding how value is created to the power of decisiveness, persistence, and cultivating a positive mental attitude, these ideas, they offer a powerful roadmap for navigating life and achieving our full potential.
It's a reminder that success isn't about luck or circumstance. It's about the choices we make, the actions we take, and our willingness to embrace the journey with all its ups and downs.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. What resonated with you most? What you're going to apply in your own life? Remember, your path is unique. You don't have to figure it all out alone. Learn from others, tap into that inner wisdom, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving towards those dreams.